Hello and welcome to the video on expressions and equations. So we're going to talk about what the difference is between an expression and between an equation. Now, an expression is kind of like a math sentence and it uses variables. Now, remember from last week, variables are letters. So X, Y, Z, and absolutely any letter in the alphabet can be used as a variable. So expressions always have variables. They also always have operations. Now, operations are adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And finally, they always have numbers. So an expression represents something. So it could represent how much taller you are than your sister. It could represent how many pairs of shoes you'll have when you buy 3 more. It could represent how many candies you've eaten each week. It can represent anything. And an equation is very similar because it has all of the same pieces as an expression. It has variables, it has numbers, and it has operations. The only thing that an equation has that an expression does not is an equal sign. So an example of an expression would be 3m plus 2. An equation would be 3m plus 2 equals 9. All right, so we cannot solve expressions. What we can do is evaluate expressions, and we did that last week. So remember, we practiced taking a number and substituting it in for the variable and then getting an answer, right? That's evaluating the expression. In the next coming weeks, we're going to work on solving equations. So it's similar, but you don't replace the variable for anything. You figure out what the variable represents. All right, so that's the difference between expressions and equations. Now let's practice making expressions and equations out of phrases. So when I say phrase, that's just like a sentence. So I've got 4 examples here. Let's look at the first one. 12 centimeters taller than Monica. So I'm going to start with 12. If it's taller than Monica, that would mean that I add. So I am approximately 165 centimeters tall. So if somebody were 12 centimeters taller than me, I would take my height, 165 centimeters, and I'd add 12. So 12 centimeters taller than Monica, but we don't know how tall Monica is, so we're going to put her height as a variable. And remember, a variable, that was tough, and remember, a variable is just a letter, and you can choose whatever letter you want. I'm going to choose M for Monica. 12 plus M, that's it. Is this an expression or is it an equation? There's no equal sign, so it's an expression. Next one. 2 times a number plus 3 equals 7. So I always recommend that when you're turning phrases into expressions or equations, you just work left to right. So write stuff down as you read it. So 2 times a number. 2 times a number. We don't know what that number is, so we have to put in a variable. Now remember, if ever you have a number beside a variable, you do not need to put a times symbol. You can just put the number right beside the variable. I'm going to put n for a number. 2 times a number plus 3 equals 7. Since there's an equal sign, that makes this an equation. Next one. 7 plus 2 times a number. So 7 plus 2 times a number. Now I don't know what that number is, so I'm going to use a variable. I'm going to use p. You can use any variable you want, and that's it. I don't need to put the times because remember, whenever there's a number beside a variable, that means times already. Since there is no equal sign, this is an expression. Last one, 52 years younger than Amanda. So if Amanda is 54, 52 years younger would be 2. So we're going to have to take the age of Amanda, which we don't know. So I'm going to use A and subtract 52. If you put 52 minus A, that is wrong. Because it doesn't say 52 minus Amanda's age. It says 52 years younger than Amanda. So that's why it goes this way. Since there is no equal sign, this one is also an expression. All right, now go to the next slide. And there's a table where you can fill in your answers. And then remember, move the box to check your answer. Now, since you're picking your own variable, you are most likely going to choose a different variable than I did. And that's okay. So if the letter is different in our answers, but everything else is exactly the same, that means your answer is correct. All right, thanks for watching.